This drug, in that small amount, kills you DRT, dead right there, and dead right now. Not dead later, not deteriorating your body over time, DRT.
He's one of the most outspoken sheriffs in the country, whether he's talking about a local crime or a national issue that affects the safety of his Polk County community. Sheriff Grady Judd speaks his mind. Right now, he's very concerned about the drugs coming across Biden's open southern border and a potential for a terror attack. He's joining Florida's Voice to share more on this. Sheriff, thank you for taking the time.
It's my honor to be with you today.
My favorite quote, I have to say, before we get into the questions from you, was the Swiss cheese quote. If someone shoots at us, they're going to look like Swiss cheese.
Absolutely. We're going to shoot them and shoot them a lot. You know, I put these young men and women out here to protect the community, not to be shot at. So if you pull a gun on or point a gun at our deputy, expect us to shoot you so much that you can read a newspaper through you.
Very good. That's a good message to make sure that criminals know not where to go mess around in Polk County, that is for sure. So let's get right into it. We've seen the images of these massive crowds coming over the border. It's happening every single day. Some come illegally in a search for a better life, but you're concerned about the others. Who are they and what worries you?
Certainly, we get caught up in this, what I call legitimate hysteria over the southern border. It's porous, it's wide open. And the reality is a percentage of those people are coming across the border just to better themselves and their family, and they're God-fearing, hardworking people. That's not who I'm talking about today. But the cartel is involved in making sure that they can push their illegal product and their criminals across the border. So they will bunch up and have a rush of people that take all the resources of law enforcement at the border. Then in a separate area at the border, that's when they push their drugs across. 5 gallons at a time liquid meth. And when I say 5 gallons at a time, we've bought 40, 50, 60 gallons in our one operation. So it's coming across by the ton. In addition to that, they're doing the same thing with fentanyl. Fentanyl, the components are coming into Mexico. They're building it in Mexico and shipping it across the border. And it's killing people DRT, dead right there, as I said before. It's very frightening. And if we don't do something about it, we're going to continue to see our brothers and sisters and our children die by the thousands. Since 2018 alone, we've had thousands, about 250,000 people die of fentanyl, not counting the meth deaths and all the other deaths. We've got to stop this.
Let's get into that a little bit more. Mexico's border is about hundreds of miles away, but it doesn't take long for those drugs to arrive in Florida. Tell our viewers what you're seeing in terms of the kind of drugs and the amounts and how deadly an encounter can be for our law enforcement officers.
Certainly. I went to the border with Governor DeSantis, and we met with the men and women that work what I call the mountain border. We were in Arizona. So normally you see the pictures of the hundreds and thousands that come over at a time. When you retreat to the mountains, they're hiding them in the bushes and then running them across. We saw the sentinels that were put up by the cartel to watch law enforcement. When law enforcement would go down the mountain, then they would run the drugs and the illegals across. And there are what we call mules or coyotes that are there to pick them up and take them into the country. Now look, those folks are paying a lot of money to come here. Some of them are bringing a lot of drugs in order to get here. And then that drug is going to every community in this nation. So children, adults are dying from this drug throughout the nation. It's not just a Texas problem. It's not just an Arizona problem. It's a United States of America problem.
Last week, the Attorney General was on the show, and she told us that the state of Florida is a state of law and order. When you see officers in New York, Chicago, and other blue-run cities that are being attacked by illegals who come here, break the law, and are being released after they're arrested pretty quickly without any repercussions, how does that sit with you?
Oh, I'm shocked. I'm absolutely shocked. And that kind of conduct is not accepted here. First and foremost, I can assure you that when a gang of people tried to jump on my deputies, that you would see a fight back or a shooting back. You don't have to get knocked down and beat up and take a chance on losing your life to a bunch of thugs. You can fight back, and that's what we do in Florida. But I'll tell you another statement that may shock you. We were doing an undercover operation here, and we'd seized some kilos of fentanyl. So we told the guy, hey, we want to buy more fentanyl. He said, I can get it, but I've got to go to California. We followed him with our federal partners and state partners to California. When we got there, we saw him go into a house. We asked the Los Angeles Sheriff's Office, hey, we know that he went in that house to buy drugs, and we have a first-degree felony warrant on him in Florida. We need to catch him in that house so that we can arrest him and establish probable cause so you can search, because we think there are many other kilos in that house. Do you know they wouldn't assist us?
Wow.
We were in Compton in LA. They would not assist us. We don't go to houses. We'll catch them outside and execute the warrant, but not there. So at the end of the day, we followed them back to Florida, arrested them here, took them into custody. He got on the phone, called back to that house to some relatives, and had more fentanyl sent to Florida that we intercepted. But we had a chance to hit a stash house for fentanyl in California, and they don't risk their lives there. Well, of course, I put that back on the state. When the governor and the state won't support the law enforcement officers, they're not going to go above and beyond. In Florida, our governor supports us. Governor DeSantis is the best. I support my deputies. That's why we don't accept mobs of people beating up cops and robbing stores and that sort of stuff. That's not happening here. We're going to lock you up. That's a guarantee. And if you fight us, we fight back here.
That's a fascinating story. I wonder how many instances we're having in other blue states like California where stash houses are going untouched by law enforcement just because they're simply afraid to do their job.
Well, that's exactly it. They know that there is a opportunity for things to go bad when you knock on a door with a search warrant to take off drugs. But there's more of a chance for it to go bad if the bad actors in there know that the cops aren't supported by the government. And that's what happens. In California, the government is not supporting law enforcement like it should. In Florida, our Senate, our House, our governor, our prosecutors all support us. If they didn't, we couldn't keep the community safe. That's why people are moving to Polk County and Florida, because we keep people safe. We have a low crime rate. In this county alone, my crime rate last year was 1.06 crimes per 100. That is remarkably low.
Very
considering the average is 6, 8, 10, 15, 20 per 100.
Wow. Wow. I love what you're doing in Polk County. You're leading with a strong front, and I truly believe, I love that. I love seeing that from our Florida sheriffs, because I truly believe that, dissuades the criminals from coming into our areas and doing bad things. I got a couple more questions before I let you go. You do an awful lot of work with the federal government's Homeland Security without revealing any names. Do any of those brave men and women tell you about some of the frustrations they have with this current border situation?
Well, they absolutely do. They're handcuffed. They have to do what they're told. That's who signs their paycheck. And I know that first off, we're notifying ICE of everyone that comes into our jail that we believe is illegal. And then they run them through their algorithms and determine, hey, put a hold on this one. We'll come pick this one up. We'll pick that one up. We know, we have the data here. They're not picking up for deportation procedures near as many today as they were just 4 years ago. Now think about that. We had one gentleman, I call him a gentleman, maybe that's an overstatement since he was in state prison for sex crimes. When he was released from state prison, he was illegal, and you would think that immediately we deport him. Well, he was about 75 years old. The federal deportation judge said he's too old to deport.
Oh, come on.
He's not too old to commit sex crimes in Florida. He's not too old to go to state prison, but he's too old to deport. That's right. They told ICE, release the hold. That's what our partners from ICE are under. So now the guy, well, he's passed away now, but he was on the streets. And he was on the streets because the judge would not deport him back to his home country of origin. And he'd been in state prison. I am just shocked about the whole federal system dealing or failing to deal with these immigration issues. Make no mistake about it. The law is on the books that would allow them to do their job. They're just not doing it.
It's a common theme we see in the Biden administration. He's too old. We can't hold him accountable because he's just an old, frail man. Regarding the hidden documents, the classified documents, and that whole special investigation. So it's just amazing what we're seeing when under Biden's time as president. So lastly, before I let you go, Polk County, big county, a lot of agriculture in your county. Ag Commissioner Wilton Simpson is pushing the legislator to have stricter penalties for those that trespass on agricultural land. What does it mean? Talk about that partnership there in strengthening and looking out for our farmers.
Sure. Polk County has 800,000 residents, but we also have 2,000 square miles and a lot of farmland. Wilton Simpson is outstanding. He is simply a fantastic commissioner of agriculture. He not only looks out for the farmers as his first priority as commissioner of agriculture, but he looks out for all the residents of the state of Florida. That's what I love about our state government, from our governor to Wilton Simpson to Ashley Moody to our sheriffs and our chiefs across the state. We love the people of the state of Florida. We're going to keep you safe. We are citizens in this community as well as our families are citizens in this community, and we want them safe. Wilton Simpson leads the way.
Sheriff Grady Judd, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.